I'm Bruce Zawalsky. I'm Chief Instructor of the Boreal Wilderness Institute and author of Canadian Wilderness Survival. And today I want to talk about how to lay a camp out properly and safely in the forest or mountains. If you like this life-saving information, please like this video and subscribe to this channel so I can get more of this great information out in the future. So what I'm talking about today is proper camp layout. So here is what I call a mini parallel fire. It's a fairly deep fire pit because I also use it in summer, but it gives you the types of what size this fire pit is. There it is there. It's 2.5 paces wide. It's there. There's the basic fire pit there. And it's not elbow to fingertip. Elbow to fingertip would be a full parallel fire. So this is a mini parallel fire. It's about half that in terms of distance. The distance that we actually have to work at, and the most important thing I'm going to teach you here, is what a real pace is in terms of fires. So fire and shelter setup, this is very important. What you have is this is a pace. Back of the heel, front of the toe. You'll notice here from the side of my fire pit to the shelter is exactly 1 pace. That's the magic distance. A half a pace is shoulder width. So the first half a pace from the fire to the shelter, that's intense heat. Don't put anything there. You'll destroy gear, light stuff on fire. The next half pace out is warm. This is where you could put some of your gear under your control for short periods of time for drying. The comfort zone is here from 1 pace there, and that's the second pace there. That's the comfort zone. It's here where the magic happens. This is the area that if you have a proper super shelter built in front of this fire, you'll be incredibly warm at any temperature. And this shelter space doesn't matter what the shelter is, this is the space I take up. So I'm just going to lie down here, and one of the things I would do is make sure my shelter was actually big enough for me before I built the shelter. There's no use building a shelter and discovering it's not big enough. That happens all the time. This is the magic warm zone, and in a proper super shelter, with that fire going in winter, I'd be baking in here. That's just how it works. So, what happens beyond this second pace? 2 or 3 or 4 paces back, it's cold. So, there's some warmth compared to the environment, but that's it. So the only time you can have your feet back beyond the second pace is when you're actually having a sleeping bag. Therefore, your head is in the comfort zone, your feet is back in the cold zone. That's how it's going to work. So when I build a shelter, 1 pace, just like that, your shelter is in front of the fire. Anytime I have wood on my wood storage is at least a half a pace away from my fire. And that way it doesn't burn or anything else. If I really want it off, then I'll put my wood a full pace away. And the reason I'll do that is just to make sure it doesn't light on fire. So again, that seems like a simple thing, that pace rule, but it makes the difference between a good shelter and a bad shelter. And it's going to be the difference between you being comfortable and you being miserable, or you burning or destroying or melting equipment and gear. All right, so today, all I did is talk a little bit about camp setup, which is have a proper fire pit. Have that fire pit at least a half a pace wide. Put that fire pit exactly 1 pace in front of your shelter. Then in the comfort zone, put your shelter, which is between the 1 and 2 paces away. That's the comfort zone where you want your shelter. If you have no sleeping bag, you must be sleeping in the comfort zone. If you have a sleeping bag, you can put your feet back. But if you're alone in a shelter, you might as well sleep parallel to the fire anyhow, because there's no reason not to be comfortable. If you like this useful survival knowledge that I teach on this channel, then please support me by liking these videos, listening to other videos, and subscribing to this channel. As well, you can follow the Boreal Wilderness Institute on Facebook. And if you want to survive stranded out here in the wilderness, then just stop and survive.